I've been thinking about this topic a lot. The whole point of planning at all is to create the freedom for us to do whatever we want with our free time or leisure time or whatever. If you guys have been like me lately where you're doing all things right, you're doing all the planning, and you don't feel like it's making you more efficient, you clicked on the right video, because that's what I'm gonna ramble about today. You'll probably know a thing or two about planning, or at the very least, you're interested in the topic. You know all the techniques, all the little tips, tricks, and how to organize your calendar and all that very important and interesting stuff. But for some reason, you don't feel as productive as you wanna be. You make a lot of plans, but you can't really stick to them. Or maybe you do feel productive, but it doesn't really make you feel satisfied or proud about yourself. You just feel like you need a little help with being more efficient and more productive to make a happier, better life. If any of this sounds familiar, then you're probably making one of these mistakes. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Plan for Productivity. It is so nice to be back. I'm very excited to chat a little bit about planning today. If you've been with me, you know that I haven't been posting for like about 3 months, so I'm really happy to start new, start fresh. And for today, I want to talk about 5 planning mistakes that you might be making, how they're hindering your productivity, and what you can do to fix them. So just a heads up, these are not your typical, calendar blocking, batching, organizing tips, tricks, and all that stuff. These are more like mindsets or principles about productivity and about planning that might be missing from your routine or from, the way that you organize yourself, that I think are really gonna help you feel way more productive and more efficient with your time. So without further ado, grab your cup of coffee or your cup of tea today and let's get started. Okay, all right, so the first thing I want to talk about is flexibility. How much freedom do you need? More specifically, how much freedom should you account for in your plan? What I mean by this is how much structure do you actually need in your plans? Do you need a full calendar blocked day, or do you need a little bit of wiggle room to kind of go with what you're feeling in the moment? Just think about how much can you play with your schedule on a day-to-day basis. The mistake you're probably making is that you are planning with the wrong level of flexibility. And what you have to do is identify how restricted you need your calendar to be in order for you to function best, in order for you to be able to stick to it and actually get the things that you want to do done. So let me give you an example. Before, when I was in school, in med school, I used to calendar block my entire day. 2 hours free between classes, and I would sit down and do what those 2 hours required me to do, or I had planned to do. But as I grew a little bit older, that system was no longer working for me. It was too restrictive, and whenever I saw a blocked calendar, I would almost just rebel against it and really not want to do it just because I had already scheduled it for myself. So I realized that now I need to schedule some things and leave other parts of my calendar blank, so that during the day I have the freedom to do the things that I feel like doing from my to-do list in that moment. So are you the kind of person that needs to have their entire day scheduled? Does that work for you? Do you actually stick to it? Or are you the kind of person that just needs some things slapped onto your calendar so you don't forget and you actually show up, but the rest of the day is free for you to choose what activities to do at what time? And how do we fix this mistake? Well, it's pretty simple. You need to compromise. You need to find your perfect level of flexibility, play around with it, switch it up a couple of weeks, and see what works best for you. And the sweet spot is where you give yourself enough structure so that you get the things that you have to do done, but you don't feel anxiety when you look at your calendar, you don't feel stressed by it, you don't feel like you don't want to do it. You actually use your calendar as a tool for you to know when it would be better to do the things that you want to get done. For starters, now I don't schedule things by the hour when I'm planning my week. I schedule them by the day. So on Tuesday, I'm gonna film, on Wednesday, I'm gonna edit, and then I can choose at what point in the day I'm gonna do that throughout the day. The second thing, I make a very good point of distinguishing between the things that I have to get done and the things that I would like to get done. Those two are completely different, and you have to make sure that what has to be done is your priority and you can clearly see it, so that that's what you focus on during the day. The rest is, bonus. Embrace the seasons of life. This is a lesson I learned quite recently, and it's pretty obvious. We all know that throughout life there's peaks, there's valleys, there's ups, downs, times of great motivation, and other times when you really don't even feel like getting out of bed. And that's fine. More than fine. Learn to embrace this, to identify and realize that you're in either a peak or a valley or in some season of your life, and make that work for you. Stop trying to work against what you're actually feeling in that moment. Just to give you an example, seasons are not just, you know, super productive, very unmotivated, but there's also like seasons of, I guess what I call interest. So at some seasons of my life, I really feel like reading, you know, reading more than 3 or 4 books a month. And then there's other seasons, kind of like this one, where I haven't read a book in 4 months, and that's fine. You don't always have to be doing everything all the time. Accept that you're in one of those seasons and focus on what you actually feel like doing, as long as, you know, you're being responsible and meeting up deadlines. Don't try to be so strict with yourself about what you're supposed to be doing all of the time. And there's millions of these. There's seasons where you might want to practice a certain sport because you find it fun, and then there's other times all you want to do is go to the gym. And there's times where you're going to want to be counting calories because you're super into it, and there's other times where you might just do, you know, healthy eating as your diet, and that's fine. Stop trying to, you know, put yourself in a little box of what you're supposed to feel like. And this happens a lot to perfectionists, as I can say from experience. It happens a lot to people that are very structured and very, you know, they like things done a certain way, and that's okay. I understand that that happens. Just try to realize, like, that's the hardest part, that you're in one of these. And maybe what you can do is, when you're in one of these maybe downhill seasons, try to focus on just getting the minimum done. Instead of committing to going on a run 45 minutes every day, just commit to doing 10 minutes of exercise. That's better than nothing. And commit to doing your minimums. Minimum hours of sleep, minimum dieting days, minimum days of getting active, so that you can live and actually feel the rest of your life without actually letting everything fall apart. Mistake number 3, you're organizing your day completely wrong. And if you're a planning nerd like me, you might have already realized this, maybe not. But what I mean by this is that we tend to structure our days based on no particular reason, based on something that somebody told me how to do, based on, you know, the eat the frog strategy, so you have to do your priorities first, or based on a typical day, even if you're a night owl. But that might not be what is best for you. For starters, are you a morning person or an evening person? When does it make the most sense for you to do your intense, deep, analytical work or creative work? When does it fit better into your routine? Instead of just going by the book on this, try to look at your day and identify the points at where your energy is the highest or the lowest, at where your motivation is the highest and the lowest, and how all those things can help you reorganize your day in a way that feels more natural to you. Let me just give you a quick example. My boyfriend was studying for some exams for like 2 years, and he was just at home studying for them all day. And all through med school, studied at night. So when he started to study, he was like, I have to wake up at 7 and start studying at 7:30 and just do all my studying in the day so that I can be done. Of course, he started to try that, and that didn't really work for him because he's not a morning person. He doesn't like to wake up that early if he doesn't have anywhere to go. For him, it works so much better to just take the morning, chill, and ease into the day and get started with real, deep, intense work from 11 to 7 p.m. versus me, where if I do that, I probably won't get anything done from 4 on. So think about what works specifically for you and what you can rearrange in your day so that you're not working against your own motivation and your own inner clock. Mistake number 4, you are not prioritizing correctly. And this is a mistake that we all do. We all suffer from this. It's really hard to prioritize, I get it. But honestly, this is something that you really need to learn to do, because every time you don't prioritize, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Think about it. Are you filling your plate with meaningless admin tasks that are getting you nowhere? If you're doing this, you end up with a list of millions of checked to-dos that really were worth nothing, did not much for you, and you can't really see the important things that you actually got done in your day, how are you gonna feel satisfied without being able to see that you're actually moving forward with your tasks and projects? Plus, if you have a non-prioritized list, you know, just a running list of like 50 tasks, I mean, that's just gonna give you anxiety. At least it does for me. I like it much better when I have a little stars next to them showing me what I actually have to get done and what actually matters. And this is what you gotta learn to do. There's millions of ways you can prioritize. If you want me to go deeper into any of these topics, let me know. I can definitely do that. But at the very least, identify every single day the one thing you're gonna get done today that is actually gonna be important, that is actually gonna move the needle forward into any of your projects, and mark it in your to-do list so that once you scratch that off, you get that little dose of dopamine and satisfaction from actually doing something that mattered to you. This is gonna make you feel so much more satisfied even though you didn't tick off 20 to-dos from your list. Almost done, guys. Mistake number 5. You're doing a little too much micro planning and not enough macro planning. I have no idea if micro or macro planning are even a thing, but the main point of this is that you might be just in the hamster wheel, you know, getting and taking off the tasks that you already set for yourself for the day, or they are in your never-ending, unprioritized to-do list, and just feeling the stress and anxiety and hustle of every single day, without actually taking a step back and looking at the overall progress of your projects or goals or whatever it is you're working towards at the moment. It's so important not only to do it in a reflective zone where you're like, oh wow, look at all the things that I have actually accomplished, but also, you know, in a proactive way, as just taking a step back and realizing what are the important things you might need to get done at certain periods of the month or the week or the year so that you can reach a specific goal. Working towards something specific with an end in mind is always gonna feel more satisfying than just being in the constant hustle without actually feeling like you're moving forward. You know, you're literally in the hamster wheel, just working and working and working without actually an end in mind. So it's important that you just take a little step back from your daily to-do list and look at the week, look at the month, look at the quarter, look at the year, and just analyze where you want to go and where you've been going in the past. And this kind of ties into number 4, because if you don't have a clear picture of where you're going, it's going to be really hard to prioritize. It's really hard to find motivation to work or to be productive or to be efficient if there's really no end in mind or no goal, right? Okay, and you know me, I can never stick to the number that I said, so I'm gonna give you guys a bonus because this is a very important thing. Productivity is overrated. And if you clicked on this video, you probably care about productivity. Trust me, I really do too, which is why I have this whole channel. But being productive for the sake of being productive is like a waste of time. What is the point of that? You know, productivity is a means to an end. It's a way to do things so that you can fit more into your life, so that you can create more happiness, more satisfaction, achieve more things. It's not just for the sake of, I worked 20 hours today and that's great. Stop focusing so much on how productive you were, how many hours you worked, how many things you did, and focus on the point of being productive, creating the life that you want, and how productivity can help you get there. Stop focusing and identifying yourself and identifying your value with how productive you were, but rather with the things that you are creating for yourself and how much you are enjoying day-to-day life. To me, productivity looks like having time to fit in the things that I care about in my day. Organizing and being efficient so that I can find freedom in my day, in my week, in my month. The solution to this very simple mindset is have a why. Have a reason why you're doing things. Have a vision of where you want to go in life, your whole life, not just your goals and your projects, not just your work. Have, you know, a deeper meaning as to why you're being productive so that you're not just sticking to the hamster wheel and you're actually making a better life for yourself. And that was it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And you might enjoy my video on the top 5 productivity boosters. Let me know what else you want to see from me, which of these you want me to dive deeper into. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate being back here. I'm really enjoying this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.